Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Lungani Kwala, aka Umfana Chocolate. This time, I'm here to remind you that this weekend, Sunday the 23rd of January 2022, the articulation is on. We have beautiful, amazing panelists, and we have performances and special guests. We're going to be talking about a lot of issues that we face as different communities. Please join us. Go to our social media accounts and click reminder so you can be with us when we go live. Lungani Kwala, I am signing out. See you on Sunday, 23rd of January. Yay!
It's only now, now, or never, now, now, forever, now, now, or never, or never.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health.
Sorry. Yeah, Selena Africa, no? Artist. I do jazz, Afro-pop, Afro-jazz, crossover, Afro-soul. I act a bit. Yes. And other stuff. I love cats.
I like that.
What do you have? What are you bringing to the table? What's your contribution to African storytelling, to the world? They must know Africa is awakening. If you look around us, Africa is awakening. So
John Ramaoata, a cultural activist. Ukudabuka waseLesotho. Kodwa ke sengila, I'm settled here because of ngifika la eSouth Africa ngathola ukuthi ngifikela la KwaZulu Natal itheme sengibuka iCountry yonke ngathola ukuthi iyona ene talent iyona enesilo kuphela in the country and kusekhaya. It's not like go Cape Town. Cape Town it's an European, it's an African country in Africa as far as I look at it, and then equally kuseskangeni kungakho ngekho inkosi ungekho sizwe sakhona ba mind your own business.
There's nothing as soul destroying as being unable to go and do the things you would normally do.
Oh man, I feel good, baby.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Articulation Show. My name is Lungani, I am your producer. I'm here to remind you that on the 23rd of January, this Sunday, we have our first episode as the introduction. The panelists are ready. If you want to know more information, please go visit our Facebook page, The Global Sunday, The Articulations, Diverse Global Studios, or you can check me, Lungani Kwala. You can also call +2779 673 4077 via WhatsApp. Remember, we're not just doing a show, we are building better communities. Let us sanitize the problems.
It's only now, now, or never, now, now, forever, now, now, or never, or never. It's only now, now, or never.
Welcome to the Articulation Show. But aka umfana kachocolate abashayela izandla phela ungajampisi. Welcome to the Articulation Show. Yes, it's another episode. It's another Sunday. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this topic, and I don't know how many people we're going to be having today on the panel. But whoever's on the panel today, we're gonna, start discussing the topic of today, the issues that we, come across under the topic that we're gonna talk about today. But quickly, I just wanna welcome my panelist. all the way from Durban, South Africa. We're going to be having a beautiful conversation. You know what to do if you are watching at home. Yeah, welcome on Facebook, welcome on YouTube, welcome on Diverse TV. Welcome to the articulation. You know, my name is Lungani Gwala, aka Umfana Chocolate. Let me welcome Sphakamiso Shezi, all the way from South Africa. I think Sphakamiso Shezi was at Durban. Azi, we are moving. I ain't down again. Welcome lapha Prinston from Durban City. I can see I have Mr. Ramaoata and Lapayana, Mr. Shashu. They're still trying to connect. I don't know why each and every time I'm fully show, I just, I started with the credits. I think it should be a thing. I think it should be a thing. I don't know if my microphone is on, but can you guys please say hello, Prinston?
Yo. How you guys doing? Sanibonani?
Yeah, sawubona.
Yebo sabona.
So
Iboni
nice to be
njani?
back.
Siyaphila sikhona njani sale kahle.
Nihambe kahle.
Yeah, welcome guys. Welcome to the articulation. It's another episode. We talk about very serious issues, Lana, and today we are once again we are talking about something which is very profound, something which is very serious. Most of the time, I think they do talk about these such topics, but then it's like it happens behind the doors, or it happens somewhere private. It's never public like this. If it happened before, I don't know, but I think today we have an opportunity to talk about this topic in the public. And if you're watching at home, you know what to do. Drop a comment, let us know what you think, and your views as well. Mr. Shashu, let us welcome you back on the show. We haven't seen you in a while. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, friend. How are you?
I'm well, sir.
I'm
Thank you.
doing well. Yes, I had problems last week ago due to the connection, but now I'm alive. Yesterday I bought 3 cows and a calf, but unfortunately the calf is sick. Join us to take it to the hospital. Thank you very much. Yeah. Look, thanks.
Thank you.
Panelists, very great panelists.
Thank you, Mr. Shashu. Mr. Ramaoata, welcome back. Welcome to the show. I hope everything is well. Do you want to say hello to everyone who's watching?
Hello, everybody, the viewers and the panelists, and you too, our host, and everybody. Thank you.
Let's look back to what we discussed a few weeks ago on our previous topic. Mr. Shezi, do you want to recap on some things that you remember that we talked about just for 60 seconds, and then we're going to help you out and add whatever that we remember also as part of the panel. Please go for it, Mr. Shezi.
No, ngiyabonga. It's been quite a journey, God. Noma kukubi nje ukuthi imbokodo namhlanje ayikho. Yeah, asithembe kodwa sizobuya isijoyine uma bekhona abavelayo ngokuhamba kosuku. But yeah, we've spoken a lot from culture, which we've spoken about, to our struggles which are happening in the industry, art, my challenges artists abhekene nawo, and how the industry has changed in South Africa as a whole. Or maybe let's just say what Africa, and the imbalances which must be brought into balance. Kuningi. What I could say would there's more work to be done than things which must be said just on the platform for 2 hours. That's more how I feel.
Lovely. Prinston, do you want to add on that quickly, like the introduction, and just to recap?
Yeah, man, not to recap too much, but I agree with Mr. Shezi. There's so much to be done. And sometimes we cannot cover all of those things within just a segment, We spoke about the struggle that the artists are going through, how we can go forward, getting these workshops picked up, just getting more people involved in terms of, supporting artists getting involved in these educational centers. So yeah, man, there's a lot to be discussed, and I think let's move forward and figure out how we can find a way with today's topic and take it from there and all that list.
Absolutely. Mr. Ramaoata, just 60 seconds. I'm sorry today. If you pass this card, I'm just gonna stop you so you can be able to move forward. Don't take it personal if I stop you while you're talking. I'm just gonna make it as respectful as possible. Mr. Ramaoata, just 60 seconds to recap this khulume ngazo before.
Except ozabe sebethe ukuthi fahla kodwa ke sikhulume ngakho indaba yokuyimpharisha kwamaciko and it's a pity ukuthi imbokodo ayikho namhlanje njoba uza kwethu Mr. Shezi ukuthi mhla imbokodo izojoyini. I can pass on to Mr. Shashu ngoba I don't like to repeat myself because I get bored when I repeat myself.
Mr. Shashu, 60 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Program Director. I would like to add some few points regarding the artist crisis. I think the government should build art centers in the urban and rural areas and employ the arts practitioners to capacitate those talent artists so that they become professional artists and live out of art. Thank you.
Okay, mhlambe I'm just gonna say a few things that I remember right now, which we are already working on under ama-topics esikhulume ngawo previously, just to update people who are watching at home. Singabashinje be-blank and just move on to a different topic. And remember, if you are watching at home and you want to find out, how far we are when it comes to the topics and the findings that we spoke about before, please do. You can contact us on Facebook. You can contact us on all social media accounts. You just search the articulations with an S at the end, at the articulations, whether Facebook, Instagram, and then also you can search it on YouTube. You'll probably find these shows, and the information is on the description below if you want to find out more. But just to say a few things that we're working on right now. Recently, here in Arizona, we had a collaboration because last time we talked about collaboration so we can pass on knowledge between the young people and the older people who are well experienced. So the professionals also and the upcoming artists. So we had an event called Voices of Dance, but it was a collaboration between the choir, the orchestra, the professional dancers, and the upcoming dancers. So it was a collaboration of the students as well. So I think by doing so, knowledge was well passed on, and having that experience as a student to perform with the professional and having that actual feeling of what it feels like to be on stage with the professional, the challenges that you come across. You never learn about those kind of things at school until you step on stage and have that experience. So we did that event, and then also we have started, talking about bringing the same event back into South Africa, so that we can have that same exchange between the students and the youth, the legends, the young people, the older people, the professionals, the upcoming artists. So it's getting there. And another thing that we're working on also is also informing people about our culture. So we have started working on a collaboration with a lady called Lisa Marie she's an American, and she's started working on album cover for one of the South African artists who has passed on, and by doing so she will be able to learn African language by singing the song, and also she will introduce this to other Americans who never knew anything about South African art or South African music, because South African music was under the table for quite a long time. So anyway, I'm moving on. There's a lot, but if you want to find out more, please, you can send us a WhatsApp +27796734077, including if you want to be part of this conversation. So let's move on. Now let's talk about today's topic. Today's topic, children protection or protection of children. Now my question is, who are these children, and why are we protecting these children, and what are we protecting them from?
Le topic kinzima. Asikwazi ukukhuluma ngengane uma bazo bengekho. I shouldn't be laughing, but ukukhuluma, it's a sensitive issue. It's a really sensitive issue. It's a really sensitive issue. But a moral of the story, I think it goes back to what we raised earlier on regarding our culture. But for every child, I think we protect. Once sakwazi ukufeyila raising ingane amongst ama families, uningi okuzowenza kube wrong. It's like the times are changing right now. You find obaba bona bathanda ingane okudlula omama, unlike in the past la kwazi ukuthi ubaba yena khona uzongena indlela ahambe and they will just disappear. But every child needs to be loved and protected. No matter uyayizala, no matter awuyizali, in our culture you were forced to hlonipha nomuphi umzali as long as kuumuntu omdala. Just because umdala, that person, you had to treat them like your parent. But if bekubamba wenza into wrong, they'll give you a huge hiding. And you can't run back home uyobatsha no baba wakabani ungishayile. Just because nasekhaya, as soon as they find out that you did something bad, zoyisuta futhi. So it needs to go back to indlela ekade kuyiyona. There are good things which were done in our culture suppressed. Khona lezi ezinye which you totally sobona ukuthi no laphana they overdid it. We need to come back a bit nakuzona. But more or less we just need to analyze ukuthi kahle kahle what's working and what's not working. Then sikwazi uku-apply method, but all kids need to be protected. Otherwise we don't have a future.
Wise words, Mr. Shezi. Let's take a short break and then we're going to continue.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your...
Yes, welcome back to the Articulation Show. Besakhuluma lapha besenza the introduction of the topic that we're going to be talking about today. Mr. Shezi laphana besaphakamisa ivoice esho ukuthi hey, it's going to be hard today to talk about lezi ngane lezi zalabantu bengekho, and mhlambe ngizoshawa mengithi labantu nje omabazo bengekho nje ngengibeke kahle nje ngolimi olufanele. Mhlambe ke sizobuyela back sizwe mhlambe ukuthi uPrinston yena yini angayisho when it comes to le topic leso besikhuluma ngayo namhlanje. Ngiyabona ukuthi ivideo yakho sayivalile, but ngizomdedela nje ukuthi turn on i-audio yakhe ne-video, and then mase siyaqala siphawule ngale topic namhlanje. Remember, if you're watching at home, you are also welcome. Ivoice yakho nayo ibalekile. You are welcome to make a comment. You are welcome to also make a question. You know, we're not saying everything is show la right, it's 100% correct. So if you have a different view at home, please feel free to share with us. Ngiyambona ulihle usekhona athi good evening. It's a good morning for me, good evening for you. Good people, shout out to you, Lihle. I can see you on YouTube. Prinston, let me welcome you back, and then maybe can you please kind of like answer the question regarding to children protection? Please go for it, sir.
Yeah. Are we live now?
Yes, sir.
Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
I think when it comes to the children, man, very important topic. And the person that I think we really needed to have on the show, which we do have as Mr. Ramaoata, because when I say children, I'm talking about youth and actually empowering the youth and actually transferring knowledge, especially from people like him, Bob John, knowledge that he has. Like the last time we met, I think it was 2 weeks ago. And I was saying to him that, you know, as much as you can have all of this knowledge, but the time that we're living in now, we need an easier way to kind of have people like him be able to tell stories and transfer knowledge that's going to live forever, especially for the youth, you know. So I explained to him maybe that he needs to do something like a channel where he can tell these stories, transferring this knowledge to the children. And another thing we can also touch on in terms of protecting the children's rights. I'm not sure how well versed we are in terms of all the legalities when it comes to rights in this type of society. But for now, I would touch on the transferring of knowledge to these kids, telling stories, having it preserved, having it accessible in a way that they know how to kind of access it. And I remember the first couple of episodes we had, I always spoke about the youth, the kids. The kids are the future. And if you can kind of like mold or kind of like shape them and empower them, give them the knowledge, then things will be better for people in this country, especially musicians, or should I say artists in this country. Yeah.
Before Mr. Shezi, you comment, before you add something, my question is now, what are we missing? What do these children, what are the problems that we have now that we have to protect these children? What are they dying? What is happening? I want to understand that before we talk about how we're gonna overcome those obstacles. Before we talk about the solutions, what is the issue here? What is the issue with children? What are we protecting them from? Are they being killed? Are they dying from a certain disease? Are they being kidnapped? What's the problem? Mr. Shezi, please.
Now, this is deep. Iy'ngane ziyabulawa. They're not being killed physically, but they are being killed mentally. You see, the biggest problem, ukuthi sikhule sinjani. They will tell you ukuthi your education is isinkwa sakho semhla ngemihla. That wasn't true, it was a lie. We grew up being fed, I can't say it lies, it's something which I think our parents saw as the only way of surviving. Would you go to school, matric, go to university, from there you can go on and get a job. That's how we were groomed, that's how we were taught. You know very well. Very well, but it wasn't true. Now you see, not everybody was meant to stay in school, not everybody was meant to sit in books. There are people who are pure artists, who can take izinto babazi, who can work on wood like it's nobody's business, who can draw like it's nobody's business, who can play instruments like nobody ever knew them. We don't have much schools of art. I'm not just talking about the art or music. Everybody, when they think about art, they think art is all about music. We don't have much schools of art. So you'll find out ukuthi ziningi ingane zikhona emalokishini, zikhona even ema-suburbs. It's like they are monkeys, but bafakwe emanzini kuthiwa they must swim across. Some of them are even elephants. Kuthiwa no, here's a tree, see if you can climb up. That's how intelligence is being measured. And not everybody was born to be in the same boat as everybody else. So now we need to protect him. If you grow up in school and you are being killed. You're not being killed physically, but you are being killed emotionally and mentally. And as cool as it needs. Only to find out who know they are really pure legend. I wonder if he designed Moses Mapeda. Eskoleni wasn't really good, but he was an engineer naturally. He could not read and understand books, but he could build a car, he could build anything. He was an engineer natural. Take him a school in Bazo Twist Dome, we cannot solve for X. Ama-challenges akhona la izingane eziwafaceayo abanye baningi kids who can really build cars ngoba that's art. Ukuthatha ucingo wakhe imoto, that's art. To make a car out of wood, that's art alone. So if you're not been given that opportunity, you are being killed. Whether we are shower ekhaya noma you're not coming from an abusive family, yabona ukubona ezinye ingane ziprosper, good in their school books, good everything, it lowers your self-esteem ngoba you think ukuthi when you cannot do anything, there's nothing ukwazi ukuyenza. And khona engizoyisho, not everybody was meant to sing one genre of music. Ngiqale ngakhulela emakhaya, ngikwazi ukusina, ngikwazi ukwenza mix. I couldn't do anything. Now I thought there was a point in time when I thought, no, I was really useless. Couldn't do anything. But as soon as I got to high school, I sang explore. No, there's a lot which I'm good at. Even in a place where I grew up, no godwa. So we need to open my channel for you and open doors. Ezinye zabo, they are very good in sports. But problem, if you're going to spend 8 hours when they don't understand, which you're not meant to understand, instead of spending at least 2 hours to understand the layout, and then the rest of the 6 hours, you're perfecting your skill. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, I picked up a point, Mr. Shezi, from information Nigama. Very powerful, by the way, very powerful information sharing Nazi. And one of the things that you mentioned, they are not given opportunities, because right now I'm mostly focused on the issues, under this topic here, children protection. So they are not given opportunities, right? They are creative, but there are no opportunities for them to express that creativity. That's one of the issues that I'm noting down, so we can discuss it in the future, how do we deal with that? Prinston, I know you want to add something.
No, I agree with what you're saying, and this goes back to what I was saying in terms of empowerment. How do we empower the youth going forward, and how do we yes, we might say there's no opportunities or we're not given the opportunities. That is true. To a certain extent, but my thing is, even if the opportunity is there, how do we find out about these opportunities? Like for example, this weekend I was at a festival with my son. He's 4, right? I was teaching him how to set up a tent to camp. Wow. Simple things like that. You find out that how do kids get to know about things like that if they've never seen it? Then I met a guy that was riding a bike and a bicycle actually on this farm. So the festival was on this farm. So anyway, this guy comes up and my son now, he runs around this bike. And this guy's like, hey, can you ride? He's like, no, he can ride, but he's got training wheels on his bike because he's 4. So this bike is a grown bike. And this guy's like, no, do you know that we teach kids how to ride bikes? We put him on this bike. And he said, you know what you need to do? You need to take the pedals off the bike. Take the pedals off the bike, almost like how we used to ride the scooters with no pedals. So he says, no, you take the pedals off the bike, you put the kid on, and you push them. And you find out that kid uses the bike now like a scooter. And once he starts using his bike like a scooter, then you put the pedals back because now he knows how to actually balance. And he says, no, we have a school for this. He's like, why don't you bring your kid on Saturday? There's a school, I think, in Durban and Belito. And I'm like, it goes back to the same topic. How do people find out about things like this? Are they hidden or do we just not know? I never knew there was such a thing where kids go learn how, they teach kids how to ride bikes, And it goes back to our topic as well, youth empowerment, or children empowerment. How do we protect our kids in terms of, not protection, but like, I would say, how do you expose? Because when you say we're protecting our kids, what are we protecting them from? Because a lot of our kids don't know, And I'm not talking in terms of like your rape and what. I'm just talking in terms of like general things in terms of art. Like you say, I mean, we used to make those cars with the metal cars. I haven't seen one in ages, you know? You know what I mean? Imagine if we could even have a school for people learning. I mean, we could get the equipment, get the vice grips or the pliers and get the wires and make these and sell them as an export product to other countries. But like, where do we start in terms of servicing the youth and empowering the youth? Because that's actually where the kids are getting lost, you know? And that's where I feel is like, we aren't protecting, not the children, but we're not protecting what we have as art people in this country, or should I say artists in this country, people that can draw, people. I remember before, I'm not sure if it was a Kickoff magazine where you could draw. I'm not sure what magazine it was, where you could actually draw a cultural image with a pencil and you send it in to this magazine and then they'll put your image in the magazine. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was Drum or it was Iwis or what magazine that was. And like, you remember that? I don't know if you guys remember that. But
yes,
like, you know, simple
I do.
things like that where we could actually protect what is kind of like indigenous for our country, you know? So I think there's a lot to cover in this topic. I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough time, but we could actually break it down in terms of servicing the youth, empowering the youth, and then how do we empower the youth? How do we protect our skill? How do we protect our art? How do we export our art? How do we hand our art down to other people that have never seen it? I know kids that have never made a sling before. I mean, we used to hunt pigeons, you know? These things now you buy them and it's like, it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You buy these things now, it's not the same like making your own.
Yeah.
It's not the same, you know, fishing and everything is like, I just feel like there's just so much that there's a gap that we're missing. And I think that's the gap that we're actually not protecting that kind of thing. And we're not handing it down to the younger kids. So in an actual way, you're not protecting your how can I explain it? I just feel like you're not protecting almost like your culture, you know, like, because that's like the South African culture. All of these things that we grew up with, all the things that we know, they kind of like get lost. That's what I was saying. If Mr. Ramaoata was online, it would have been so cool because he understands what I'm saying, because we spoke about this in terms of, I was telling him, you're so knowledgeable, you know all of this history. How are you going to tell? I mean, you can tell 5 of us. There are millions of kids in this country. You know, there's people watching online, but it's not. So I was saying to him, we need to create something where all these things can almost be like recorded, or how can I put it? Like, we can trace back, you know? If you want to make a cart, this is how you make a cart. We used to make those carts with the 4 wheels and the one you push with your legs with the rope. I don't know if you remember that one. Where you're going down the road and you can. Do you guys remember those carts?
Yeah.
How do you make one now? There's no manual for that.
Right.
But there's a manual for you to set up other things, you know? You buy something, there's a book that tells you this is how you make ABC. So I feel like those kind of things we're not protecting, and we're not empowering the youth with these kind of things that we grew up on.
So now my question for both of you, and again, also Nami, I'll process and you know, bring something on the table. I'm not just, you know, putting everything on you guys. But my question is now, we talked about imoto zocingo, you know, how we used to play as kids before, which doesn't happen right now. How did that, or what role does that play in a children's life? You know, what do we earn, or what do we get from that?
No, it's simple. Contact tour is self-confident. I mean, as much as I told you, in a primary, I thought I was useless. We had a culture where we to try to sing. I was worse. But I grew up in a place like the only sport which you needed to play was soccer. And if I was you're useless. After high school, they discovered good no, I've got pace and I cannot get tired easily. So babeng focus and they made me mark. So they'll just go bahambo attack about and mark. Look at some players I find no make better spy. They're not very good, Dino Famani, but they are utilized in a playing football. I discovered in 2006 that I'm really good in basketball, like natural. And I thought to myself, no, I didn't have a problem. There was no problem with me. You go on things which I was exposed to were things which I could not understand, or things which were difficult for my body to grasp.
Hey.
So then I ended up, now I need to expose myself. Like ziningi ingane, if ingane ingakwazanga khona ingane wakutshela ukuthi people which I knew they were very good in building inqola yocingo, mina I was worse. I was even worse in making a sling, I'm telling you. I couldn't even listen. No, I was a joke.
Prinston, yeah, please step in, Prinston. Let's have a conversation.
I was saying we need a school for those things. You know, during the holidays, you send your kid there. They learn all of these things. The youth, they go there for the holidays and they learn all that. We need a school for that.
And I positively think, Mr. Shezi and Prinston ukuthi zonke lezi is the technical professional stuff that get created now are the foundation of what we used to create as kids. I mean, like in Ngola, you see in Ngola the way you used to like sit like that and you know, you push it, you go to a hill, and then you get on it, and then you go down. We hill. I mean, you have to learn to control that thing, and some of them didn't know how to install the brakes on. You know, so you had to use.
Well, the feet with the brakes.
You know, so I think, because I mean, some were drifting before even drifting was famous. They were drifting with those things. You know. How I think so. Yeah, I fully understand where you guys are getting, and I believe that the technology that we have now is the foundation. No. What we had before is the foundation of what we have now. You know what I mean? I'm pretty much sure you understand what I'm trying to say here. Because even a car, even the actual car, how you drive the automatic and how you drive. What was the other one where you had a string and then it was like when you swing your steering to the left, it goes to the right? I don't know what it was called, but there was something like that.
I remember that one very well.
Why?
I mean, I used to make that one by mistake. No, I'm just saying. I mean, I didn't even know how to correct it. But the only time I remember, whenever I used to make one, instead of facing that way, and I didn't even know. That's what is this I've realized. Which people who were good in making those things, when it came to school doing maths and science, they were not too good to go on, but they had a skill.
Yes.
When you go outside, they could utilize it. They were very good in those things. And you'll discover what some of them were supposed to even finish standard 7. Go to a tertiary and start doing FET courses, but they were actually really, really good. They lost out, but some of them lost his self-esteem. Or there's this guy you could not touch him in swimming. He could not even kill a single animal. You'll be shocked. Then you're thinking, he was very good in hunting. The most interesting thing, if he was maybe in a different country, he was going to be protecting wildlife, write books about snakes, write books about birds. Ngoba really, really understand birds. But that's art on its own. And one thing I about protected from those in the skills isn't as good as Sona. That person will grow up thinking with their time. And Leon will kill. Once people are killing you emotionally, you'll never survive anyway. But your emotional being is more important than even your IQ.
That's true. That's true. And you find out a lot of the kids that are, I don't know if you know about the term called autistic. A lot of these kids that are autistic, they draw. They draw like you cannot believe. But like it's true what you say, they're not good in school because they're autistic. But the art is incredible, you know? So it's kind of like, how do you protect kids like that? I know a lady who has a son and he's autistic. He went to school, like a normal school, but it didn't work out for him. But now to try to put him in an autistic school, he kind of feels like there's something wrong with him. So like he's not in school right now. But this kid, I'm telling you, he was 11 not so long ago. He would draw a BP garage with the stairs, and from top to bottom. I'm talking the infrastructure. How? He drove past it one time, and then he drew that thing from the ground up, down to the people inside even the tellers inside the shop. And you ask yourself, how do these kids do that? How do you protect a kid like that? Where do you send him? Because he cannot go to school. You know?
You know the biggest entertaining artist of all time, Michael Jackson. Do you know which was the standard by school and what grade? But you don't know.
No.
As soon as he was even 11, he was put into art, shamatos and everything.
Oh my God.
That's a fact. Nobody knows. Maybe he did homeschooling or anything, but as soon as a cool, like, he knew his talent. That's what they focused on polishing.
That's true. Maybe that guy was autistic as well. You never know. Do you know that even who else? This other guy, you know, R. Kelly.
Yes.
How does a guy become the greatest? He's one of the greatest R&B musicians. Do you know that this guy cannot write and read? One of the two. I'm not sure whether he cannot write or he cannot read. But one of those two. Do you know that?
No.
And you also then how is he coming up with the songs if he cannot write them? Just Google that. R. Kelly, he cannot write or read. One of those two. That's why I say these people that are autistic, they're not good in school. It's right what Mr. Shezi is saying. They're not good in school. But the art is incredible. Incredible. I never knew that about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I never knew that. But now, where do these kids go to school?
Which means
they are not dumb. They're not deaf. They're not dumb.
So now, would it make sense if I put it in a way like skills, protection of their skills? I mean, as one of the things in the list, we have to protect their skills because school.
I would say just protection of well-being. You know, because these people are multi-skilled.
Start. Weekends we need workshops azohamba emalokishini emakhaya which are gonna be strictly focusing on art. Ngoba if we do not have those workshops which are gonna be focusing on arts, we're killing ingane. And we need a man which are gonna be focusing on sports. I did remember at one point the Department of Education did hire these kids about no diploma in sports management or bafake ekoleni, which maybe one day in a school bakwazi focus in kids which are good in sports. But most people which are good in sports, nyayazi PSL. Most of those guys they face that way instead of facing this way. But it's understandable. You cannot be a jack of all trades. Not everyone was born with about dokotela on a serious note. So now we need to have, even to push, okay, Clement, Glandwing, and Colin, Kandri, give a Colin, touching an eight, which I niggas doing any competition is webbing and as a tan web. Good as a going out is successful, build the school of art, such as you often this work on a song. Competition sports in an basic go, but internet thing about drawing. It's something if you discover knowledge is good in this thing. Yeah, keep us on but they don't deserve to be in that school. In that school is what I solve for X. Believe me, I know how to solve X from A to Z. Yeah, I was very good in drawing over and my dragon balls. That comes differently. I used to make a collection in my books. I used to draw a lot. Ngaqala ama Pokemon and Dragon Balls. That's how good I became because it's something which I used to like. But when it comes to ezinye, there are people who were good in other things, but awubaboni manje. And normally, I need you all to notice something. If you normally see whites, kuba khona ama sports ababa now, ama sports which you don't even understand. If you check ama Olympic, you look at the sports. The sports ezinje. Recently, there was a competition on who's got the biggest pumpkin. Yes, I'm thinking to myself, really, competition about somebody who's got the biggest pumpkin. No, serious guys. Still, there are things which we take for granted, which we shouldn't be taking for granted. Go back about those things, everything.
You know what the problem is that I think we're told that we need to follow a certain way of life. You go to school, and if you don't go to school, then there's something wrong with you. And if you don't do ABC after school, then you're not, if you don't acquire this by a certain age, then there's something wrong. Just let people be. I met a guy this weekend, just to go off topic. This guy, he's the same guy that was teaching my son about the bike. Apparently, this guy is a multi-millionaire. Okay, he doesn't look like it. But he's a multi-millionaire. And you know what he says to me? It's not about money. And I believe all guys with money say that. It's not about money. But you know, when you think about it, it's true though. He says, you know what? Sometimes you just gotta let people be free and let them do you. Not everyone is, like Mr. Shezi is saying, not everyone is destined to be a Ronaldo or whatever. Have different institutions for different kinds of people. And then you'll find out now you'll be protecting those kids. You'll be empowering those kids. Not everyone can read, guys. Even if you study it, not everybody can read. You find out there's guys that are panel beaters and spray painters, but they didn't finish school.
Yeah.
There's shop fitters that didn't finish school.
Yeah.
But they can put an angle together like this that you can't believe it. 90 degrees. So, how do you, where do you draw the line and be like, you know what? These people go this way. They don't have to go to normal school. They can go here and not be judged to say, well, no, this guy is autistic or there's something wrong with this guy. And because society makes you feel like less of a human, How do you protect those kids?
And then now, so there's something else that happens. There you go. Okay. There's something else that happens. Hey, Zoom. What is Zoom doing now? Hey, come on, Zoom. There's
like 30
something.
minutes now, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we have like 10 minutes or so. I think so. So now there's, just to add on what you were talking about, Prinston. Sometimes what happens is at school, when you apply at the university with already a skill that you have, they look at what you have done, and I mean, I'm talking from experience. They decline you. They decline you because what happened is when I wanted to go and study for video technology, I went to university. I'll mention the University of Technology in Durban. I went to Durban University of Technology, and they said to me, "Can we see your matric result?" I showed them my matric result, and then my matric results were not in the level that they wanted. And then they said, in this case, if a person doesn't qualify through their matric, they have to have a CV or a profile that will boost them up to qualify. I don't know, there's a term for it, but I'm just breaking it down. There's a term for it. I can't think of it now. I'm going to take my time if I try to. But then I said, oh, yes, I have a profile. I have a website that talks about the works that I've done and stuff like that. And then I came back with that information. You know what the response was? You overqualified. The response was you overqualified.
Ungathuki, in that school it was nothing new. Nami ngaxoshwa. I think it was 2010. Ngiyowenza sound engineering. I'm telling you, nami ngaxoshwa. It was 2010. No. I'm leaving in field of engineering. Let me just go and pursue art. Mengifika ngiyadweba, I did everything. But okay, you meet everything. Soon as got to bengihlalisa phansi interview, what you no. When ufuna ukuba Dr. Dre, no guys, I do not rap. I just work behind the scenes. But no. Ham. And about when you get kicked out, I was so irritated, Lord. I was so irritated.
That's
the first time in my life.
That's when I found Ubab John, and I told him, you know what, I'm tired of this. My hope, because all that, just like how you guys were explaining, if you do not know what they know at school, you are taken as a person who is, I'll use the word stupid, or, who's not smart, or who has a problem, just because you don't know what they are learning at school, And I always avoid these kind of comments, because people who've learned, who've got certification, have graduated, and has all these kind of different things, they look at it as an attack. Somehow it's not, but somehow they always look at it as an attack. So because we went to school, are you judging us? No, it doesn't mean that because you went to school, then you're better than a person, or you know more than a person who did not go to school. Person can learn from home, just like how it used to be. I think as Africans, that's how we used to do it. We used to learn at home, and then a few hours, if school was there, then they would take a few hours to spend with the kids. So now it's the parents are at work from 9 to 5. The children are at school from 7 a.m. to probably 3, and there's after, I don't know, there's a lot of things going on, and there's no more connection, and that knowledge is not being transferred anymore. So I'm picking up few points: knowledge transferring, empowerment of these children, and then giving them opportunities. There are no opportunities for them, and we are not protecting their skills. People die with their skills because there's no way to express those skills. It's really tough. Mr. Ramaoata, are you connected? He's still trying to connect, and he's just taking his time. It's okay. It's okay.
But you can see frustration, food.
Yeah. Yeah. So what other things that we need to protect the children from, besides the skills, the knowledge, giving them, empowering them and stuff like that? What other things? Are we facing things like rape? Is that still going on? Are they being kidnapped? Is that still going on?
It's still going on. Those kind of things that I would say a lot of them start at home. With the parents. A lot of us come from broken families. So those kind of things, we grew up with them, and they become so normal to a point where, you can get an uncle that can look after a 5-year-old girl, and it's okay. That's how it was back then. But now it's hard to do things like that, because these things are becoming so common, where family member is hurting your own family member, so these things are still happening. Even the kidnappings, a lot of the kidnappings, if you read the end story of that kidnapping that have happened in this country, it's always a family friend. It was a family friend that was involved. And if you look at the rape and all of that, it was a family member. So it's still happening. Those things are still happening. So it's a tough one.
Rape, kidnapping.
What do you guys think?
rape, kidnapping.
It's
So
like I said, those things, even like with not even kids, we don't use kids, even though our topic is about children. I'm talking adults, even our age. The person you love can kidnap you. It's been happening. Guys kidnap their girlfriends.
What are you
I'm
saying,
telling you. In South Africa, it's been happening.
Huh?
In South Africa, it's been happening.
How is that possible now? How do you kidnap your lover? I mean,
I'd
wait.
say the past 2 years, have you never come across girls being kidnapped and burnt and thrown away here? And you find out it was the boyfriend. Huh?
Yeah.
Girl gets
now I
kidnapped,
remember.
she goes missing. First they go missing. You go missing for a few weeks and then you find out, oh no, it was the husband, you know, and then he threw the body and he burnt. You know, it happens. It's always someone you know. Or it's a friend, family friend. But that's with adults. But now with the kids, it's the same. It's always that guy you find out he was a friend of the family or he was working for the family. Like there's one incident in Durban, I won't mention the kid's name. The kid was kidnapped cross border. Apparently it was the family friend of the mom that was given money to steal this boy. This guy was picking the kid up from school. So obviously he had the access to pick the kid up and hand the kid over to these guys that are doing the cross border. Family friend. It's always a family with a family member. So
Mr. Shezi.
that's a sensitive topic, man. Sensitive topic.
No, bengizomention eyi-one eyenzeka. I won't mention igama or indawo eyenzeka kuyona. But there's this one guy is dating this woman. Tries to call her 2 years uzombona. Next thing uyamfica kamfica and he was so pissed in a way ukuthi wagcina se-rape ingane yakhe.
Oh.
Following day phakathi, I'm telling you. Bikhulile naye, she was around 16, 17. Following day umphakathi wawusurrounde wonke warescuishwa amaphoyisa uthi uzombulala ngenduku. Those things still happen. They still happen, but kwakade kuyi-boyfriend ekade izofuna umama akekho uye ebumnandini.
It happens.
Yabona lama topic are sensitive, they are very deep in a way ukuthi mina it's not something which I think ukuthi I even want to talk about ngoba the moment I talk about those things ngisuke ngibafune labantu abenze lezo zinto. I'm just like that. On a serious note,
I think somehow Zoom has downgraded us for some reason. I don't know. There's been some updates that happened. Oh man, this is crazy. I need to file a complaint. Zoom and Bella. How can they downgrade me without even letting me know? Well, I know what I'm paying. But anyways, let's take a short break and see if we can have them back for a few minutes, which means the show and Namhlanje. It's gonna be a short show. Yeah, let's take an outbreak and then when we come back, I'm gonna see if I can get them back to continue. This is a serious topic that we're talking about. I can see your comments at home. Ebenezer, ngiyakubona lapho. Shout out to you, YouTube. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, welcome to the Articulation Show. My name is Lungani, I am your producer. I'm here to remind you that on the 23rd of January, this Sunday, we have our first episode as the introduction. The panelists are ready. If you want to know more information, please go visit our Facebook page, The Global Sunday, The Articulations, Diverse Global Studios, or you can check me, Lungani Kwala. You can also call +2779 673 4077 via WhatsApp. Remember, we're not just doing a show, we are building better communities. Let us sanitize the problems.
It's only now, or never, now, forever, now, or never, it's only now, or never.
Okay, welcome back, guys. We the problem here is that on Zoom, somehow Zoom has downgraded us for some reason. I don't know why, but I will have to find out why that is happening. While I'm waiting for people to log in, so we can wrap up. It's not gonna be a long show today. It's gonna be a very short show. So in the next 15 minutes, we should be able to wrap up the show. But I think we touched on a on very serious issues, and you can tell, Lutene, it's really hard even to talk about it, because it's just insane, having to think about, what people think when they do all these crazy things. I mean, it's just crazy. I think one of the things also that we need to look at is the foundation of all these things that are happening. Utane, for a brother or an uncle to abuse ingane or to abuse a child, where is it coming from? Is it how they grew up? Is it what?
No one grows up like that. I can tell you that.
Let me bring Prinston back. Prinston is dying to say something. Prinston.
No. I'm just saying that no one is born wanting to hurt. These are things that, for instance, if you my dad, or you my uncle, and you hurt me, hurt people. So when I grow up, I'm gonna hurt people. That's if I'm strong enough to fight that kind of thing. Some people fight that and they become better, but most times it's hurt people that hurt people. You're not born a killer, or you're not born a rapist. This is childhood trauma that you grow up with, that you end up wanting to do these things because something happened to you. You find out people that do these kind of things. If you look back, maybe they won't tell you, but something has happened to that person somewhere along the line. You do things because of your childhood. If you never had this, when you grow up, you want too much of. If you never had shoes growing up, when you're growing up, when you're an old person, you have too many shoes. So I'm just saying. There's a reason for certain things, but we cannot answer for those people right now. But people that are hurt, they hurt other people. And also for umuti and witchcraft, people believe things. And then you find out because of the poverty and the situation, you want to change your life, and I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell, Guti and Prinston, you holding back. You want to express this, but it's not easy. And the interesting part is that, Prinston, now you make me connect the two, Guti, and for us to speak about these children, it's all it's us speaking about the old people as well, because it's a connection. I mean, if you are raised in a certain way as a child, you grow up and become that when you are grown, husband or wife. You do the same thing to these children.
Subconsciously.
Yeah,
subconsciously.
Right.
Yes.
So it is connected. We're talking about children, but this is connecting. It is connecting to parents. It's connecting to adults. It's connecting.
I think
connected.
It's everyone. It's everyone. I'll use an example of guys my age that have ladies or partners, or some of them are married, and you find out this guy, he's very bossy. This guy is a big boss outside of the house. Why? Because at home, the wife, she's pressing him. So at home, he's not wearing the pants. So when he's out there you find out this guy is too much. But you find out this guy, it's not his fault. He has a problem at home.
Prinston, you are a prophet.
So that's
Prinston, Prinston, you are a prophet. Sorry. You are a prophet because I was thinking.
I'm just saying that we do things because of certain things. Even guys that are driving. Sometimes you see a guy that will cut you off.
Exactly.
These guys with these fast cars that got money. This guy is compensating. Maybe he has a problem at home. So the car, and I'm telling you from experience, the car, it compensates for all the things that is lacking. That's why you find these guys, they're driving the way they're driving, and they behave a certain way because there's something that happened to these guys. They have to compensate for whatever problem that we don't see. So now they have to show the world that, yo, I'm big like this, you know, or I can buy this car and cut you off, or, you know, these are problems.
So, so Prinston, the reason why I'm saying you're a prophet, it's because I was thinking about the same thing today when I was taking a shower, and I was like, you know, but unfortunately, it came because of a specific individual, who recently slapped somebody on his face, and in the public, and I was like, and somehow I didn't plan to, but I was just processing it, you know. I was just preparing for the show, doing my own thing, but then I found myself thinking about where he comes from. I don't know, you know, he has shared a few things with the public, but then in my mind, it came into my mind that this person is not sharing everything in the public. In which, I mean, it's okay, you don't have to share everything in the public, but there is something that is happening in his life, and especially at home.
At home.
You know, at
and
home.
You know, as much as we're talking about children,
yeah.
Do you know that we are all, as much as you've grown, you know, you're over 21, you are still a child.
Exactly. Yeah.
You are a child, you are a kid. So we are all just children that look big, you know? We are children, we look big, and we think we know what we're doing. So we're just trying to find our feet in this world. But we are all just children. So that's why I say, man, the things that happen to us along the way determine how we're gonna be, how we're gonna react. You know? That's why I strongly believe the people that are hurting the kids are people that are hurt. Or people that are hurting other men, or men that are hurting other men, or men that have been hurt, even by their wives, these are all hurt people. That's why they hurt people. You know? There's a guy, I don't know if you guys know, last year or the year before, in Durban, Glenwood, my wife's kids, sister's kids go to the school. I won't mention the school. This guy picked these kids up, he took them home, and he shot them.
How?
All of them. I think it was 3 kids. I'm sure you guys heard about that. He shot these kids and shot himself.
Ow.
Who does that? You know? How do you protect those kids? Because this is not a stranger. This is dad. This is the guy that is supposed to look after you and protect you, and you know what I mean? I'll even use the South African musician. I won't mention his name. He took his own life, but he knows that his father wasn't there for him, and he wouldn't want his kids to go through that, but he still put his kids through that. There's problems. How do you protect those people? You know, where do they go? Men have a lot of things to deal with, and you find out that's why we end up raping these little kids and killing these, you know? It's because of the problem that you don't know who to speak to. Where do you go? You know? And if you tell somebody, I'm just gonna laugh, be like, come on, you know? So it's a serious topic. So you don't know whether a person is being serious or not, you know? If I told you guys, hey, A, B, C, you're not going to think anything of it until the news comes.
It's tricky.
You know?
It's tricky, Prinston. I don't know. It's very tricky because now some issues that we face as men, they come from our partners. And some issues that we face as men, they come from the system.
Yes.
And now...
That's true.
As totally, it doesn't give somebody an excuse to come be abusing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Let's be serious, Lapo. If it was according to me, I will just ask a specialist in the research, alabo bantu nama motives. Ngoba right now my motives kumele ngabakhona, but it has a lot to do with the anger.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
we can't just look at one side of the story. We've got to understand ukuthi kahle kahle for things to get that far, isuke isukaphi le nto. Ngoba in the past it wasn't like this, kwangekho worse kanjena, manje izinto sezaba worse. Yes, in some point you do find out ukuthi ngabantu one-anger ukuthi ngifuna ukuyomgcolisela ubani. I want to make them feel this pain, but ingane zinacala. It's a topic mina which I really don't wanna.
But at some point
But
we
Mr.
have to get into it, Mr.
Mr.
Shezi,
Shezi,
because we cannot
think
run
about
away
it.
from it.
That's true. Think about it. As much as you can say anger, you know, you're looking at me now, I'm smiling. And then you find out that I'm in the newspaper, I raped some girl at 12. But I'm not angry. Some of these things is not anger.
No, you are sick.
That's it. That's it. Some of these guys are not angry guys. And you think, how I cannot believe it. It's not only the anger. You're right. It's a sickness. But now, how do you, before you can protect the children, how do you protect that adult from even from even getting to that sickness? Because it's not only the kids, like it's all of us. How do you protect the grown-ups that have been through this trauma? I'll put it to you like this. Our families, right? We come from families that are very secretive. So there's so much problems within the families because of the poverty. Like there's no talking, you know, like I'll use me an example. I meet people that, hey, I tell you, you don't remember me. I was the guy that I carried you when you were 3. And I'm, how do you, like, you know, we have a lot of things to discuss. This episode is only one episode, but if you think about it, man, our families are messed up. And that's why sometimes broken things produce broken results.
True.
You know? People are broken without knowing it. And that's why I say we compensate. There's a problem that we have, especially with, I'll just use as in our black families. We have a problem, but we compensate by material things. That's why we buy nice things. Because we have a problem that we don't want to address. We don't want to address it. I'll tell you, I love shoes. I buy a lot of shoes because I know I have a problem about shoes, which I cannot discuss here on the show. Growing up, you have a problem. You're like, you know what? I remember a time, I'll talk about it. There was a time I was going on an excursion, like a school excursion. And I wasn't living with my parents at the time. But now our neighbors, I knew my neighbor was a size bigger than me, maybe 2 sizes. And I was like one of the sharpest kids in the class. So I was going on this trip, but I didn't have shoes to wear because we couldn't wear school shoes. You had to borrow like a pair, you had to wear sneakers. Anyway, I borrowed these sneakers from the neighbor and they were about this size bigger than my actual foot. And there I'm walking with these shoes. And after I'm like, no, man. So when I grew up, I made it a point that shoes has to be my thing. That's why I wouldn't think twice about spending 5,000 on shoes because of that problem. But that's just one example that I'm using. You guys are laughing.
I'm sorry, please.
That's what I'm saying, that men cannot address certain topics because we don't believe them and we don't take them seriously. You find out a guy had nothing. Now when he's older, he's got everything. He's compensating, and yet we don't need everything. You know? So I just think that, you know, a lot of the reasons why people do what they do is because of the problems that we have, that we're facing growing up. We compensate.
I absolutely agree with you,
compensate.
Prinston. I agree with you, Prinston. That's true. That's true. There's a lot of men out there. Mostly, I'm talking on behalf of men because I'm also a man or I am a male. I cannot talk on behalf of women. Unfortunately, we don't have a woman today. But I know a lot of people who are stressed because of what they look like or what they cannot do, especially towards women. And, they try to get, big cars and big everything to cover that up or to
To
fulfill,
compensate.
to compensate. Yeah, thank you
Yes.
for the word. I know it's a serious matter, and I don't know how do we deal with such, but I think those grown men and women, if we can find a way that it can make it not leak to young people, to children, to take that anger towards children, I think then that's the conversation we can have. Because now we know there's problems with individuals, there's problems with parents, there's problems with men, there's problems with women. It's their problems, but then how do we avoid that, from you know
Okay. No, ukhi wodwa yabona zonke iy'ngane zidinga ukuthandwa. If ingane ikhule singathi ayithandwa, leyo ngane automatically izoba i-problem. And I don't mean love as spoil ingane. Ukuspoil ingane akusikona uyithanda, sungayifuni. Spoil ingane enough, don't overdo it. Thanda ingane enough, don't overdo it. Nabazali will do everything for their kids, everything from A up until Z. Ingane when they're supposed to grow up, mind you, sathola i-girlfriend umfana, expect a girlfriend will play that role ekade idlala ongumama ukuthi you're gonna do everything for me. And that's actually killing the kids. Sometimes ezinye ingane they will be taking care of themselves in a way ukuthi they will never even learn to have fun like all other kids. Naloko it's a problem. Too much of many of something becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So we need to learn how to balance izinto. But mostly we need to learn how to balance ourselves. Ngoba ukwazi ukubalance izinto if you and yourself are not balanced. And that's the biggest problem in call. Balance. Just the balance.
That's true.
Yes, Prinston.
That's very true.
Yeah. Did you want to add?
No, I'm saying I agree. There's this guy that the guy I met this weekend was sharing with me. He's got another friend that's also quite wealthy. This guy is like top class, top tier in the job that he does, but he's living in Dubai. And this guy, he's got a kid that was 20, he's 23 now, the kid. The kid was 21 2 years ago. And at the kid's 21st is where he first got to know his son. So this guy's been working his whole life, being successful, being a millionaire, to come to find out at your child's 21st, that's where you actually get to, when you're listening to his speech, you actually get to find out, shit, I don't even know this young man. And that's where it's true when you say balance, we don't know how to balance. We chase so much that you find out that you lose yourself in chasing. If you come from a poverty background that didn't have, you'll find yourself chasing your whole life, chasing money, chasing this, chasing that. And even that too, how do you balance that? Who's gonna teach you that balance? Because you know that you need to do ABC to, you never had ABC. Now you need 1, 2, 3 things, But there's no balance for some, there's no choice as well sometimes. How do you balance that? Where's the school that's going to teach you, hey, guys, you're working too much,
Maybe.
So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Before Sirepe, I just want to maybe call Mr. Ramaoata because I can see he wants to be part of the conversation, but he is trying and he is struggling. So I'm just gonna try and call him via WhatsApp and see if he can join. But there's a lot of things to unpack here. But what do you think are the most important things that we should look at when it comes to children protection. The most important things. I know it's it's a tough one because
This thing is linked.
you
It's a tough one. Remember, we were saying we're talking about children, but you must remember these children. They also have parents.
yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it also comes from the. You know, there's one thing I saw online that talks about when a man tells you he's tired, you need to listen to him.
Eesh. Yeah.
You know, if a man tells you I'm tired, listen to that man. There's something that he's trying to tell you. You know, if a guy tells you I've got problems, I'm stressed, listen to that man. Because that now leads to the conversation we're having today. You know? It's not the child. The child doesn't know anything. The child doesn't know anything. It's the grown-up, the parent. You know? So we cannot talk about one without the other. As much as we need to protect the children, but where's the source? Let's cut the root of the problem. That's protecting the children. The problem. Fix the problem, and then we fix the protection. That's actually protecting the children. If we can fix that problem.
I think I think Prinston, if Mr. Shea is not saying anything for now, I think we do need a parent, a female parent, to be part of this conversation, so it can be
true,
so we can have light. I think next week we have to make sure, or then the following next episode, we have to make sure we have a female representative.
I'm struggling to hear you there. Can you just repeat that?
I was saying, Prinston, I strongly believe and think that we should have a female or a mother on our next episode. I don't know, your video feed. Okay, everybody is frozen. I don't know what's going on. But if you can hear me at home, I'm just saying our next
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, everyone is back now. Okay, I can hear you. It says my internet is unstable. Okay. So Prinston, I was saying, I think on our next episode, I think we should have a mother. Prinston, can you hear me?
You think we should have?
I think we should have a female. We should have a mother. We should have a parent, a female parent, who will speak on behalf of women.
I agree.
It's hard. It's a tough topic. And we're gonna get lost in the dark because it has so many sides, you know. So
and in the West manje, we're getting to the sensitivity of the topic. And like siqala khona ukuba sensitive, I don't want us to go too far. Kanti we're losing a direction. We need to find the balance.
Yeah.
From our point of view, we're speaking from the same angle.
Exactly.
As men.
I think this one, Mr. Shays, this one is going to be an interesting one, because now there will be that engagement between men and women, expressing ourselves with different perspective for us to get into one point and in one understanding. Because now it's not about us, but at the same time, it is about us. Can you see how this is, where this is actually going? I think this is going to be an interesting one, because this is what we need, actually, a conversation between men and women as well. But now it's interesting that it's coming up because of children, and we cannot discuss children without discussing men and women.
True.
I saw we should Bob Johnny. I saw we should bab John bekhona ngizwe ukuthi ene ubezothini kule situation le lesibhekene nayo la. No, I think and you know what? I think next episode there will be a specific panel that will confirm maybe 3 women, 3 men. I don't know what you guys think. 3 women, 3 men. We on the panel. We having this discussion so that it can be in balance. It can be balanced. I don't know. It's just a thought. It's just a suggestion. You guys can. You guys. I'm open to corrections. You know. You guys can say what you think.
But I see.
No, we're not.
We are not fighting, you know.
No,
So I
no.
don't want it to be like, no.
Yeah.
So I think it should just be free, or even if it's not equal. But it would be nice to have the ladies. You know.
Yeah.
We're not going to war because you know if you think about it, who was more the problem, us or them?
See, now I
It's the
cannot
man.
answer that because they are
From
not
what
here.
I think, I could be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So it's hard to answer the question because they are not here. Until we hear their problem, then we can figure out, we can be able to weigh and say, oh shit, we didn't know that, you know? Because there's a lot of things that women do not know
Another
about men.
thing, if you look at it, we have this gender-based violence in South Africa. When
Right.
it's for the females, yes, we agree. Sorry? No, I'm talking about this gender-based violence. When it's the men, it's almost like we don't believe it, you know? So sometimes it's hard to believe that the females can also add to this equation. Because when you think gender-based, it's not men-based, men and women. But at the same time, it's almost like you won't believe a guy if he says, you know what, this lady did ABC to me. Or, you know, so I think the topic is very broad, even though it involves children, you know?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Prinston, and yeah, it's hard to discuss it without the other party, and yeah, that's my suggestion. Utani. Let's find a female who are going to represent the mother side of the situation, and I believe we are all parents here, and we know exactly Utani, what we're talking about when we're talking about children. But there's so much more than that, you know, because it's something that started, you know, a long time ago before we were even born. So having people like Ramaoata will be able also to give us an idea. Mhlambe ukuthi ene, how did this begin? You know, where is it exactly coming from?
Yeah,
You
that's
know, so
true. That's true. And I'm sure that's why I was saying to you, I wish he was on the show because you've probably find out that there's a history as to why, I'd say specifically, black males behave a certain way. I'm sure there's a reason for that.
yeah, I'm
And
definitely
he
sure
might,
there is.
he would know.
I'll give you a reason.
What's another Mr. Shezi?
Angifuni nithi ngithanda ukushifta blame. You see, in the past, this is what usually used to happen. You know, good women outnumber men 1 to 5 or 6. That's number one. I know if you check statistics, SA will give you a different story, but that story is a lie. I'll just tell you now to look around you. And the biggest challenge was how do you kill families? You kill families by firstly separating them. In our culture, once you were you were forced to marry that woman. I don't want to dwell too much why it's because they wanted you, number one, to learn to respect that was number one. Your own family will be forcing you, and a family accuses will be forcing her. You did something wrong which you were not supposed to even begin with. And Leongane, who's best to protect the child if it's not abazali baba two? And once Leongane iyafika isihambe ekhaya lewesifazane, they're gonna be told how to behave njengoba beya in a new family. And there was a reason why that was done in the past. Manje akusenzeki. Yabona, you'll find out ukuthi our fathers were forced to go and work away, behlala kude, beyosebenza and seek better opportunities just to provide. Umama uhleli lana taking care of the kids. Sometimes the father will be even struggling ukuthumela imali. Umuntu beyitsho ukuthi uyasebenza eGoli kanti nobody's working on the other side of town. He's still hustling. Qala kwathiwa lamadoda wakwazi ukuprovide. That's where the problems began. Umuntu uhamba asebenza athumela imali, find out ukuthi umama is not even utilizing imali properly. They're just abusing it. Then you'll find out amanye ama-race umuntu mesuka lana usebenza in a certain place, so to no bring your family with you. Our fathers were not even allowed to benze lokho. I'm not talking about something recent. If you remember your story, that was a true reflection of what was happening. Black men were not allowed to live with their wives. But kids which were supposed to grow up in the family, they were supposed to be in line which did not grow under a protection. And that's the biggest problem. We had ended up having a broken families so mama kuphela. Ngoba total baba banye bebe absent, total ngoba be absent. And another thing, in our culture, we're never meant to go out and work. On a serious note, we could take care of our own without even having to step outside of Ikaya. Ngoba we had everything as sitting. Angifuni to shift the blame too much, but we need to understand where we're coming from and how do we maneuver that situation. Ngoba yes, it's all those situations about zisibekela. Another thing ayenzeka, if maybe I've got a wife, aqala gule kumele ekhaya uyolashwa, your own family would send usisi wakhe ukuthi afika azogada ingane la ekhaya. I know some people that might be looking wrong, but why do you think Israel was given 2 sisters to take as wives? Ngoba who can take care of your kids better? Is it a stranger or is it your own flesh and blood? Ngoba my problems akhona ngama families wonke asuke emakhaya. If me and Prinston share the same father and our father is very wealthy, when I go home, they will be planning with how do I kill my own brother so that I inherit everything and I share it with my family. But if me and I were coming from the same mother or had the same grandmother, it's not even easy for that gogo to pick up between 2 kids is about 2, unless that woman also has a problem. Maybe that's where problems start within families.
No, you know what? It's getting deeper. Mhlambe nje sizama ukuyivala. I'm trying to find ubaba Ramaoata ukuthi ashiye comment emfishane. Mr. Ramaoata, can you hear us? Can you hear Mr. Ramaoata?
No.
Mr. Ramaoata, hello?
He's not even online.
I have him on WhatsApp. Mr. Oh yes, I can hear you now. Yes, Mr. Ramaoata, angazi noma ubulalele yini ukuthi besikhuluma ngani, kodwa ke khona mhlambe umyalezo wokugcina abufuna ukuthi udlulise before sidlale isivali show.
Yes, just a bit ukuthi sibe ne technical problem, but umyalezo wokugcina ilo ukuthi yokuba sikhuluma ngengane. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Yeah. Isizathu why sinamapara in the country, it's because of a lack of ukunakekela kwengane, and sisazoba nenqwaba yawo azoba double of what we have got now, and besingena before freedom from 1994. And it's very dangerous because ukubhizwa kwengane kuyinkinga enkulu kakhulu. Kukhona ezinye ezinale sifo okuthiwa i-autism. And esingazi ukuthi kufuneka sitreatwe kanjani, and futhi asifune kwazi. And lezo ingane most yawo zi-cultural, zi-active, zi-spiritual, and futhi zinesiphiwo ezingaphezu kwalezi thina esicabanga ukuthi singcono kunazo. As you know ukuthi kukhona enye izinto esayikhipha engafuni ukusho igama layo la protect igama lengane sayikhipha esikolweni sayifaka kwi-special school and ya-excela and ngeke izifuna umsebenzi ngoba izoba ne-profile ngoba inamakhono more than 4 or 5. Le nto kade ingabonwa abakubo nomphakathi nasesikolweni uma ibuzakala ukuthi ithi ayazi ukuthi isuke ifundiselwa lento efundiswayo and why izoyilalela.
No.
Yeah, shooting ngoba sengiyayivala ngisho ukuthi ke ukunganakekelwa kwingane kuyibhomu elizophuma akusikhathi eside ingakaqhumi njengoba sonke sisiyakubona lokho. And lento kade mina ngayisho from 1994 ukuthi uhulumeni makwahluleka kuimparisha ingane i-youth nge-knowledge nama-skill then sibhekene nempi engaphezu kwekhaya. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaoata. Last words, let's see Valeni, we have only 4 minutes. It's Vali show. Last words. Ngizoqala ku-Prinston. Last words, Prinston. Mr. Shezi, if ungasivulela ikamera yakho silandele ngawo, and then Mr. Ramaoata bese ayifinqa nje ngo 30 seconds esobe sinawo ugcineni. Prinston, please go for it, sir.
Now, last one, I just say, if you want to protect the kids, man, let's start with the adults first, man. Let's figure out what the problems are. Let's listen to the men. Let's listen to the ladies. And then if somebody says something about how they're feeling, take that seriously, because we don't know how these things can affect the child. If a guy tells you, guys, listen, I'm tired. Well, you know what? I'm tired of my wife or whatever. Listen to that man. Listen to that lady. Because these things affect what we're talking about today in terms of protecting the kids. We cannot protect the kids without the parents. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Shezi, ngicela ukulahla kuwena nje quickly. Any closing words?
I'll be very quick. In order for us to protect ingane, they are the future of this country, they are the future of the world. Zidinga ukuthandwa, zidinga ukunderstandwa. And there's no way ungathi uyayithanda ingane noma understand if you don't spend time nengane. All kids are unique, all kids are different, just like Nathi, we are all different. So if you don't go out there uzama ukuseza ingane yakho to pursue whatever they are good in, ingane yakho izokhula yazi ukuthi yona they were useless empilweni yakho. You need to give them opportunities.
Mr. Ramaoata, thank you so much, Mr. Shezi. Mr. Ramaoata, angazi noma uzwile any comment from Mr. Shezi, Prinston, but in 30 seconds, what's your closing statement?
My closing statement ukuthi kufuneka ingane zilandelelwe kwamanye amazwe. Njengoba ngihlale ngisho ukuthi saqanduleka ingqondo kalendlela ukuthi asisuke la besiboshelele khona noma engasekho intambo. Kwamanye amazwe kulabacindezeli laba beza la ayikho into yokuthiwa ukufeyila. Education system i-wrong ngalendlela ukuthi akukho ushintsho olenzekayo until kulungiseke leyo nto leyo. That is only when kuzoma ukuthi kwanda amapara, and amapara production product ekhiqizwe yithina. That's how good we are. And it's a shame because alikho ipara lengane yomlungu noma engane India noma ezinye inhlanga.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaoata. That was Mr. Ramaoata with his closing statement. Now, Shashu, Shashu, what's your closing statement? Sesi Valley show, 30 seconds.
From God. Therefore, we need to protect our children and maintain them
make them men and women. If I go to the animal kingdom, we talk about the mammals and the reptiles, okay? So, they protect their children. Say, okay, when a child is born in a family, there is going to be a great jubilation, okay? And then thank you, Lord, we've got this child. Now the child is our responsibility as a parent. So now I'm going to talk about the illegitimate children and orphans, plus 3 children. You see? Okay, so it's another subject again. So, yeah, but now we need to protect our children. We need to raise them. Give them that tender care, love and caring. And then sometimes when a child is born in a family, the parents don't know whether this child is going to be a criminal or a religious minister or an academic. They don't know. But what is important is to raise that child in a proper manner. Physically challenged or disabled, but that is a gift from God. Let's love our children.
Thank you.
Men are rating. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll stop there. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Don't worry, Mr. Shashu. Next episode, we will have a chance to discuss this again when there will be women and men on the table. We'll be able to talk about it.
On the table, yes.
Yes.
And then illegitimate children as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And then girls need to discipline as well. They must manage their. Okay, let me stop there. Okay, so
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Shashu. That was Mr. Shashu there in Durban, South Africa. Mr. Ramaoata uzule naye, Mzulu Prinston, as well as Mr. Shezi. This is the articulation namhlanje besikhuluma protection of children, and then we found out it involves a lot of different things that has to get combined together before we can even discuss protecting these children. It involves parents, both men and women. It involves schools. It involves a lot of different things, skills. So next episode, what we're going to do, we're going to gather men and women who are parents to be on this table, on this panel, discuss these issues so we can have a fair discussion, and also so we can learn about each other, because there's a lot of things that women do not know about us, and there's a lot of things that we do not know about women. So I think it's going to be a best opportunity for both of us to learn about each other. Mr. Shezi, Mr. Shashu, say give violence. Show. Yes.
Okay, and then there's this abortion and the throwing of the infant children in the dustbins. You see?
Yes, Mr.
Abortion,
Shashu.
and then the throwing of children in the dustbin, the infants in the dustbin. You see? How could you? Okay, we'll discuss that later.
Absolutely, we'll discuss it during the. We'll discuss it during the week, Mr. Shashu. Thank you so much. Yes, Mr. Shashu just touched on something which is very, very sensitive. Abortion and throwing away the kids in trash cans and stuff like that. I don't even want to mention it right now, but these are the things that we're going to talk about in the following episode. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching on Diverse TV. I can see Lapana Lihle Ebenezer. I can see Ziega Production Fam. I can see you, Mamia. I know you there. I can see you, Adele. I saw you a little bit there on Facebook. Thank you so much, guys. Next week it's the Global Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. Remember, protect these children. Protect the children. They didn't do anything wrong. Lungani Kwala. This is the articulation. But we Lungani Kwala lo, aka Umfana Shakolete. I'll see you next time, same place. Cheers.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone. My name is Royal San from South Africa. It's a pleasure to be here on this beautiful session. So I'm going to bless you with one song called Undaba Zabantu. I believe and I hope you will enjoy the song. It's a beautiful song. Yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Uyazithanda indaba zabantu umakhelwane wami. Njalo nje la kunengxokozelo khona, igama lakho lifica likhona. Uyazithanda indaba zabantu umakhelwane wami. Yeah. Lapho kunempi khona njalo, umfice khona njalo. Tabasabantu kuzeka Tabasabantu yini nao ya Tabasabantu waqekethi indaba zabanye abantu, yazakho sikwehlula. Uske wakhilinde indaba zabanye abantu, yini nayo zakho zibhekwe ngubani na. Musuku ngifaka umunasweni ngoba kuyaswela. Tabasabantu kuzeka ninanda tabasabantu indlu yakaki yanetha mfazi yokhulumayo, indlu yakaki yanetha nomothetho. Indlu okhulumayo indlu yakho, othethayo indlu yakho. Yithi bheka indaba zakho, bheka indaba zakho, bheka indaba zakho. Bheka indaba zakho, bheka indaba zakho. Bheka indaba zakho. Bheka indaba zakho, bheka indaba zakho, bheka indaba zakho, bheka indaba zakho. Bheka indaba zakho wena, bheka indaba zakho, bheka indaba zakho. Thank you very much.